Though devotion to Saint Joseph began quietly in the Western Church as early as the 8th century, it wasn't until much later that his name was officially entered into the church calendar. Since then, love for this quiet man of Nazareth has only deepened. In 1955, Pope Pius XII gave the church a second feast day in his honor, on May 1st, Labor Day in many countries. It was no coincidence. Saint Joseph the carpenter became a shining witness to the dignity of workers everywhere, men and women who bring Christ into the world not through words but through their hands, their honesty, and the quiet witness of labor well done. We often affectionately call him Saint Joseph the Great, the most beloved and revered saint for many Catholics around the world. But what do we really know about him? In truth, we have very limited information. The Bible tells us very little, and perhaps what is most striking is this. Saint Joseph never says a single word. He is not remembered for what he spoke, but for what he did. He is a man of action. And so, in our own journey of faith, what can we learn from him? I would like to reflect on three things Scripture tells us. First Street. Joseph chose to abandon himself in order to truly become himself. That may sound paradoxical. Why would someone deny himself to become more fully who he is? But Jesus himself said, "Whoever wants to follow me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Whoever seeks to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." To become the Joseph we now venerate, he first had to let go of who he thought he was. Like many of us, he probably dreamed of a simple, quiet life. He was engaged. He had plans, a future. But then he found out Mary was with child. With pride, with dignity, and a just heart, Joseph planned to step away quietly. That was his human response. But Joseph didn't follow his plan. He let go of his version of self in order to embrace the version God had prepared for him. He became not the Joseph he had imagined, but the Joseph who would carry Mary and Jesus. And in that surrender, he became the great saint we honor today. Secondly, Saint Joseph was a man of action, but his actions were rooted in discernment. Every decision he made was the fruit of listening, and he listened to God in dreams. Just like Joseph in the Old Testament, who discerned God's will through dreams and helped save God's people, this Joseph too encountered God in the stillness of sleep. In Scripture, dreams are where heaven meets the human heart. And so Joseph teaches us that real action flows from prayer, not impulse. He didn't act from pride, but from silence. He teaches us to be people of action, but only after prayer. Third Street. Joseph was a man of courage, not the kind of courage that seeks glory or victory, but the quiet courage of a father who protects by letting go. We see the contrast in Herod. Herod was a man who made no room for others. He eliminated any threat, even children. His world had space only for himself. Joseph, however, made space. He fled with Mary and Jesus. He embraced exile, poverty, obscurity, so that the child could be safe. And that still speaks to us today. Because sometimes in raising our children, we are tempted to make them shine. For us, we want them to be the best, the brightest, not always for their good, but for our pride. We want others to admire them and us. And in that pursuit of status, we forget to ask, is there still room for Jesus? Joseph chose humility. He chose obscurity. He chose exile, not to punish, but to protect. He chose a manger over a palace, a foreign land over comfort. He chose to make room. And so, what do we learn from this? First, how often do I choose myself over God? Do I insist on my way, my pride, my control, at the cost of love, of family, of faith? Sometimes Christ cannot be born in me simply because I have not made space for him. Second, is my prayer life a place of discernment, or do I only ask God to bless my plans? Do I allow God to lead, or do I treat him like an assistant for my agenda? Joseph didn't act like a victim. He trusted, he obeyed. He followed the will of God, even when it made no sense. Third, am I willing to choose the quiet, hidden path? Am I building a home where love can grow, not comparison, not envy, not competition? Am I creating a life where there is room for God, not just admiration from others? This is what Joseph did, with the courage of ordinariness, the silence of discernment, and the strength to surrender self. And in doing so, he became the man who carried Christ and Mary in his arms. A prayer for fathers. Lord, as we reflect on the life of Saint Joseph, we lift up to you all fathers, those who lead in silence, who carry the weight of responsibility without recognition, who protect their families not with words, but with quiet sacrifices. Give them the courage to be strong and gentle, to lead not with pride, but with love. May they find in St. Joseph a model of true fatherhood, humble, obedient, and faithful. And may their homes always have space for you.